making your sound better.
What's up guys, I'm Brandon J from WA Production, and in this video I'll be teaching you guys how you can recreate Meduza's Piece of Your Heart drop. But first of all, I highly recommend that you guys wear some headphones or use some playback device that can cater to low frequencies, because we'll be working with bass instruments a lot throughout the video. So now let's start with sound design. Technically all the sound that I'm going to use for this project is from Serum. As you can see right here, in the first sound that I'm going to use, which is the sound that you'll hear in the beginning of the drop along with the kick, and I created this using just a sine wave. As you can see right here, I just drew it in. You can just draw it in yourself if you want. And I also added a few effects: compressor, distortion, EQ, and filter. If it doesn't have the distortion, which I deactivated right here, it would sound lifeless. But if I add a distortion, it would add some crisp on the mids and on the highs. And if I remove the filter, it would sound really distorted, just like in a video game. Right? And I purposely mapped the envelope 1 here in the cutoff frequency so it would sound like it's fading. And I purposely made the release time longer right here. I also did the same thing for the second layer, which is this bass lead 2. But the thing is that I used a different wavetable here. I used a saw wave, as you can see. And I made the envelope a little bit different, but still the same thing, same effects, except for that I added a little bit of reverb, 20%. And the second set of instruments that I used is the sub bass, which consists of two varieties. The first one is the sub for the high frequencies, and for this one I used a square wave, as you can hear. And I edited a little bit of the envelope so it would sound staccato. And I removed the filter for this one. And for the low, again, different waveform. And I made the envelope a little bit less steeper so it would sound a little bit softer, and it sounds like this. And the last one is the pads. I actually just found this preset in my Serum pack, and I will include this on the download below. You can download all the presets that I used here below. We'll include the link down below so you can use it in your production. For the pattern, so we know that the first 4 bars only has the bass lead and the kick, so we'll name this section Section A. Section A. And the second 4 bar only has the elements of the Section A plus a few loops. So let's name this one Section B with loops. And on the 9th bar, it should be here. And on the 9th bar, right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have the actual climax, the gist of the drop, which has everything, which has the loops, kicks, percussions, and everything. So let's name this one Climax. And of course, the first instrument would be the bass lead. So the pattern of the bass lead in the beginning is this. Now let's record this one. So after we quantize it, it would look like this. As you can see, this note is a little bit off because it has a little bit of a swing factor in it. So that's why it's not snapped here exactly in bar number 7th. So yeah. Now copy and paste it. Control B until bar 25, because this one is supposed to be the ending. This one is where the second verse starts. So we'll name it second verse. Now the second instrument would be the sub. And it's the low frequency sub, and it sounds like this. Now let's record it. Now after quantizing it, it would sound like this. And copy and paste. And for the second sub bass, what you need to do is you need to add a pattern, an empty pattern right here. And it actually comes in section B with the loops. And what you need to do is you need to copy this note right here. And paste it here. Right there. And you need to make this one longer. And copy and paste. And our fourth instrument, which is bass lead number 2, right here. What you need to do is you need to copy this pattern right here. Copy. And put it in bass lead number 2. Wait, need to add a pattern. An empty pattern. Bass lead number 2 right there. Copy and paste. Oh no, sorry. What you need to do is you need to make this shorter. Oops, sorry. Just like that, then copy and paste. And the last instrument is the pads. Let's record it. There you go. And you need to extend this note, quantize it, then extend this note up to the very end. For the drums, the first thing that we need to do is we need to add a kick. Some loops. Claps. And this punchy snare. Another clap. Crash. This fast loop. And reverse crash. Now let's color and organize everything. So for the mixing, what I did here is that I EQ'd out all the problematic frequencies of the drums and percussions. For example, this clap right here, what I did here is that I EQ'd out the mids at around 500 Hz to create some space for the kick drum and for the bass. And I also did the same thing with the high frequencies at around 3000 Hz and 6000 Hz to create some space for the loops and the hi-hats. And I also did the same thing with the snare, except that I boosted it around 200 Hz to create some more fatness vibe, and I EQ'd out 7000 Hz so that it will create some space for the hi-hats as well. And for the panning, what I did here is I automated the panning of both of the claps, clap 1 and clap 2, so that they have their respective spaces in the stereo field and the climax. But I didn't automated the panning here with the loops because I think they sound good as they are right now. And as you can hear, the first one is a little bit slower and the second one is a lot faster, right? so that it will create some distinction between section B and the climax. And now for the bass instruments. What I did here was I routed the four of them in a single channel strip so I can process all of them at the same time. And what I did here was I EQ'd out all the high frequencies because it doesn't contribute that much in context of the entire mix. And I also boosted a little bit of the low mids at around 200 Hz to make it more prominent and more aggressive in a way. And another thing that I did here was I created a sidechain. As you can see right here, I just used gross beat instead of using a real compressor because it's a lot easier and more convenient. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And oh yes, I almost forgot the pads. I also did the same thing for the pads, except for that I EQ'd it out around the mid and low mids, around 400 Hz. And yeah, that's pretty much it. A little bit of reverb, just the large hole preset of FL stock reverb, and that's it. So overall, it sounds like this.